Welcome to the Griefy Girls Book Club, where every month we dive into a griefy read. From memoirs to biographies to fantasy, romance, and beyond, if it touches on grief, it is fair game. We are your hosts. I'm Kendall Rogers.
And I'm Rachel Dwyer. You might know us from our podcast, Two Girls with Grief. For us, reading is both healing and a powerful way to explore grief, so we knew it was time to give it the attention it truly deserves. Join us as we unpack our favorite moments, chat about upcoming reads, and even host interviews with guest authors. Oh, and you can bet we'll be yapping about our ever growing TBR piles too.
So, whether you're here for the books, the banter, or a bit of both, we're so glad to have you with us. Let's read, reflect, and grow with our grief together. So, welcome everybody. This is the first official episode of the Griefy Girls Book Club. We're super excited. And this first one is my pick, Kindle's pick, a C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed. It's super short, so hopefully, if you haven't read a book in a while, you can pick this up because I think it's less than 100 pages. So, you could read this in a day. But I'll let Rachel kick off kind of like what the book is about.
It is short, but it is jam packed. I feel like it has more meat in it than some of the 300, 400 page books you've been reading. So just keep that in mind. So the book is C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed, which is a grieving mind on display. It's full of raw and transparent thoughts that grievers share after close losses. Lewis investigates questions around the meaning of both life and loss, faith and despair, and most importantly, how to find the light in the darkness. This is going to be a two-part series, part one covering the forward, introductions, and chapters 1 and 2. And part 2 will come out with chapters 3 and 4.
Yeah, so Rachel and I were talking about it, and I was like, do you even read the forward and introduction? Because sometimes I just skip them. I know a lot of people just do because they're like, why would I read like the boring part of the book and not the actual book itself?
They were very meaty. I
They
was
were
not
very meaty.
expecting them to be as meaty as they were. I was like, I haven't even gone to chapter 1.
So that's why we felt it was relevant to include both some information from the introduction and the forward from both a colleague of both C.S. Lewis and then his wife, Helen Joy Davidson, Madeline L'Engle, who is also an author. And then the introduction from C.S. Lewis's stepson, but Helen's son, biologically son, Douglas Gresham. And for context, and this is relevant to understand the rest of the book because as we get into it, we'll explain the rambling part of it. But that, first and foremost, you probably know C.S. Lewis from the Chronicles of Narnia series, which has heavy tones of Christianity woven all throughout the books. So we know that C.S. Lewis is a pronounced Christian author and intellectual, friends with J.R.R. Tolkien from Lord of the Rings. But when this book was originally published, it was published under a pseudonym, partly because this was C.S. Lewis's diary right after his wife's passing. So it is very rambling just because you don't think about publishing your own diary oftentimes for other people to read. And so when it was published, that's why it was published under a different name and then later changed to C.S. Lewis. So in the book, they kind of have code names because he didn't want to put like everybody on his life on blast, I guess. So H in the book is referred to from his wife, Helen, who is Helen Joy Davidson, but she goes by Joy in real life, but he just calls her H in the book as the code name. And what was interesting for me was that when they got married, and they both got married later on in life, after this was her second marriage, they were a little bit older. She already had children, that she knew she was already dying from cancer. And yeah, it's like a surprise that he knew he was marrying a woman who was going to die soon. I even think about like, could I do that? Could I marry somebody that I know is going to die in a few years?
Did he know, or how long were they, do you know how long they were married for?
Only a couple years, not that long. I don't even know if it was even 10 years. I think it might have been less, but very shortly. I know there was a remission period that
Okay.
she did have cancer and she was in the hospital, and he spent a lot of time with her in the hospital prior to them getting married. And that's kind of like when they were like, should we just do this? We're in love. Let's get married. And then she has this remission period. So like this bit of positivity thinking that like she's going to have a long life and then a decline again and then eventually leading to her passing. So kind of like even just a rocky journey with her own cancer in the marriage that they had, their short-lived marriage.
That does bring, I feel like, a good point. We've talked about it before, how the statistics show that like women will stay with men if they get sick, and men are more likely to leave if their spouse, partner, or whatever is sick. So I think it's interesting to point out that he knew what he was going into. Like, he knew that she was
Yeah.
going to get sick. It wasn't even in sickness and health. Like, he knew that she was already sick. And I think that's a beautiful thought. But like, I think it is really hard to do that. Like, as someone that has lost so many people, I don't know that I would willingly go into that situation knowing that for sure that's going to happen. I think there's always the what if. You don't know, you
Yeah.
can't control sickness, but knowing for sure that was already the thing, like, I don't know that I could do that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Like, I just don't know that I could. Obviously, if that happened, it's like you're with someone already, that's different, but and even then that'd be hard. That'd still be something that I'd be like, can I do this again? Can I watch someone else that I love go through this? But to know that, I feel like that is such, I think it's a bigger thing than is maybe like highlighted in his, I mean, his own thoughts. So
Yeah.
he doesn't maybe acknowledge it as much either, but it is, I feel like it is a significant thing for someone to do that and be willing to just go for it for the sake of like love and life and those moments,
Yeah.
knowing for sure that there won't be a great outcome here.
It sounds like from her own deathbed, she was still talking about how life needed to be lived and lived to the fullest. And I think that really aligns with the fact why they got married, even though their marriage clearly had an expiration date. And Madeline includes that in the foreword of how she had like a 50-year-long marriage with her own husband before he passed. And she's like, that's a lifetime that you spend with somebody. And you have all these memories and all these little ticks that you pick up. And she's like, I love, she refers back to the line in the book about losing somebody is almost like losing a limb or an appendage. And she's like, that's what it feels like. And she refers back to Lewis's marriage with Joy, kind of conducting that, even though they were only married for a few years, they seemed to had the same amount of love and happiness and arguments and the same amount of marriage stuff condensed in that few year period, that it was just as valid of love and marriage in that short time span, which also to include both Madeline and Douglas confirm this, that Lewis, and granted, this is like 40s, 50s, like this is in the past, this is a different generation where they kind of saw women less intellectually and that men were the thought leaders of the industry and they were the good writers. But Lewis saw Joy as his equal almost in every way, and that she could spar with him on intellectual matters, and that she also can conduct arguments and debates around Christianity just as much as he could, and that he had a lot of respect and admiration for her. Almost like, yes, there was a lot of love there, but it sounded like they had a friendship first and then it blossomed into love. I don't know, knowing that she had cancer, knowing that she was eventually going to die soon, I think adds to the whole kind of like heartbreak notion that he signed up for this in a sense.
Yeah, and I mean, from the forward or the introduction, the steps on saying that like his mom was always corresponding with him, and he's like, I don't know that the reason that we moved close to him was 100% because of him, but I know he was definitely a factor in that.
Yeah.
And just to see like their growing romance, and I feel like back then writing to each other was such a romantic gesture. You always
Yeah.
see it in like historical movies where like sending each other notes is like this love language, which I feel like is like a lost art
Yeah, for real.
of just being able to like say things to each other and eloquently and politely and just getting to know each other on a deep level. So when I read that part, I was like, oh, that's so cute, because I feel like that time was very much, you got to know each other through letters and you got to share kind of your deepest thoughts, and really, and letters were not as easy as they were today, where, you know, it goes through a mailman and all these things so quickly. So I feel like you had to actually put the effort into writing the letters and making sure that is worthwhile to send.
Yeah, and having the patience to receive it
Yeah.
a month later and like, am I going to get a response or not?
The original ghosting.
Right there in the letters.
Yeah. Yeah, like, if you don't get a response back, text, you could be ghosted, but through a long form letter, like, that might be more heartbreaking.
Crushing, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
To also include in this book that although C.S. Lewis is a Christian thought leader, and this book definitely talks about faith, I think this book goes further than a Christian type of novel. This book, I think, speaks to you wherever you are with whatever faith you have or lack thereof. Where he really is talking about is, as a devout Christian, him questioning his own faith in the biggest heartbreak of his life. And whether you are religious or not, these are still thoughts grievers experience. I like the line that Douglas includes that his stepdad, C.S. Lewis, was a strong and determined Christian, and yet he was groping for guidance in the deep, dark chasm of grief. And that line is so relatable regardless of religion or faith, that you're so alone in that journey and scared. The book starts off with that grief feels like fear. And so to finish off the rest of the introduction and the foreword, that this book is, although short, it was called Emotionally Naked. It's very raw, it's very transparent. He does not leave out, I'm sure he did edit some things out. I'm sure there's some things he did not want published out for the world to see from his own diaries. But he leaves in all the pain, all the questioning, all the doubt. And I feel like that has resonated decades beyond when it was first originally published.
Also, I feel like they talk about, was it his stepson that talked about it? That it wasn't a custom, and it still is like not very much so now, that you couldn't talk to other men about grief. It was very much like, why are you sad? Don't get upset. Or if it was something that you brought up that was gonna make a man cry, like, you should not bring that up because you should not make another man cry over something. And it was like looked down upon that you would be sad and crying over someone that passed away, which is crazy because losing somebody is the worst pain you could possibly feel.
Yeah.
And
His own mother at that.
for that to be like the original thought of like, men can't have these feelings, which is like, you're a human being. If you experience great love, you're going to experience great loss. Like, those two go hand in hand. So for it to be the case that you can't cry, you shouldn't ever put anyone in a position that they might cry, because it's going to look down upon and you're making people uncomfortable. Like, that is just so sad. And I feel like that is still a sentiment among many men, especially today, which is sad that like that has still carried on through all the generations.
Yeah. And the son and C.S. Lewis being two sides of the same coin in regard to grief, that the son did not want to cry over his mom. He says that in the introduction. Didn't want to talk about his mom to his own dad because it would make him cry, and he was embarrassed. And he was embarrassed for C.S. Lewis that C.S. Lewis did talk about joy, and he did cry over her, and he was very forward about his feelings and how like impactful that loss is upon him, that he didn't care if he was embarrassing to himself or others around him. So I think what exactly you said, C.S. Lewis kind of threw those customaries out the window because that's how much in pain he was. He didn't care if people saw him as embarrassing or like pathetic in a way. And this is his own son kind of saying like, I felt bad for my dad because he was embarrassing with his feelings and his grief. And he talks about like, as a son, he was 15 or 16. And he's like, I didn't know how to display those feelings of great grief. And yet C.S. Lewis was able to. And now we have a book about it.
Yeah. And when you read this book, as Kendall said, it very much reads as like a diary. Very much like I feel like it's like he was just free writing his grief thoughts. And if you picture that, that is what the book is, the short like diary book is, he's free, like he's free thinking all his grief thoughts and put it like pen to paper and wrote it out, which I feel like is a good insight of his feelings at the time for grief and being very honest, when especially at a time when men did not do that. So being very honest about his feelings. I think grief, no matter the time or age, right, that's a universal feeling.
Yeah. And diving into the very first line in the very first chapter, no one ever told me that grief feels like fear. And from the get-go, I feel as though many grievers can relate to that, in that when you truly dig into your grief, it is scary. It's a scary place to be.
It's extremely scary and lonely place to be. And people always say like there's no playbook, there's no how to. And I think, there is a lot of people saying this is how you deal with grief or whatever, but nothing can prepare you for the pain. No one can prepare you for the experience. No one can prepare you if you get a phone call or you find out or whatever. Like no one can prepare you for that feeling. Even if you've experienced loss before, no, you still aren't prepared for the next one. So I think it very much is like fear. It's like the fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a new feeling every time, even if it's something that you've experienced before. It's still new, and you don't know how to get yourself out of that feeling. And I think that's really hard. And there's just like the loneliness and sadness that comes with that.
Yeah. Lewis then discusses this, like almost the symptoms of grief. And he calls it the laziness of grief, although I don't think you and I would see it as like laziness the way we would consider it today. Believe that he's almost implying the depressive aspect of grief, the I can't get out of bed because I'm so sad, or what's the point of brushing my hair if we're all going to die?
Yeah.
Those are such forward thoughts that you're thinking about all the time after immediate loss.
Yeah, I didn't see it as like the laziness of grief. I saw it as like the takeaway that often people have is like, does anything even matter anymore?
Yeah.
Does life matter? Does, like, who cares about this thing or that thing? Who care? Like, I was talking to somebody and he was saying, he used to care about sports, but he doesn't anymore. You lose interest in different things because grief just makes you look at things differently, looks at time differently, and makes you question like what matters at all.
Yeah.
And some people just never recover from that feeling because it is so hard. It is such a deep sadness. Like I can't even judge anyone that never gets out of that feeling because it is a really hard thing. And when you lose the people that matter to you the most, the people that make you feel whole and have a place in this world, like it's so hard to be like, okay, I'm still going to live a good life. Like it's a really hard place to get to when you feel that. So when I read that, I was very much like, it's not like the laziness, like you said, it's really like you question life and what's the meaning of things and the purpose of everything. Because when someone dies, it just changes everything.
Absolutely. And it brings up one of C.S. Lewis's greater points in the novel is him reckoning with his own belief system as a Christian apologist and someone who has debated and argued and proven Christianity to other people. And he is now in the darkest place of his life asking, and I'll quote the line here because I could not say this any better than him. But where is God? When you're happy, you don't need him, but to go to him when you're desperate and then have the door slammed in your face. To show that, back to that like dark chasm of grief, he is looking for guidance and hope after the loss of his wife. He's looking for God and beginning to understand maybe he does not understand God the same way he did prior to Joy passing away as he does after her loss.
I feel like grief makes people either find God and get closer to him, or it makes them question their religion or question just things in general. I get where faith and believing in God can make you feel some type of peace, feeling like there is some greater picture, some greater plan that God has for you personally, that this will make sense.
Yeah.
And that there will be this thing, good things that happen to you or whatever. Your journey is planned out personally by God. And there's a bigger picture to here and it was God's will and all those things. I can see where that creates peace where there is none, where it creates solace where there is none. But I also get on the flip side, which I lean more to, my mom definitely leaned towards the first. I lean to the latter of questioning, like, I don't like thinking that somebody has a plan where they decided that I was going to lose my dad, my mom, and my sister. Like, that seems incredibly unfair. How is that possible? Like, I don't like thinking that that was ever on somebody's grand scheme of plans for me. And it's not that I don't have any faith, but to tell me then that I'm supposed to just believe in that wholeheartedly and that these terrible things that happened to me, I'm supposed to just be like, well, it was your plan and your will, so I'm going to just embrace that. I don't really, that's a hard thing for me to be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's my personal, like, whatever you lean to or what belief or no belief at all, like, that is your choice. That is your free will to decide whatever you want. But that, for me, I definitely went the other way of like, I don't really know how to make sense of this.
Yeah, you bring up such a good point that, and I mean, you and I had heard this a lot of the consolations of religion, like, oh, your dad's in a better place, or this was God's plan. As someone who had no relation to my dad or had no emotional impact from, like, with my dad to tell me these things, and Lewis brings it up later. Yeah, so you and I had heard all of these platitudes of religion, of Christianity, in which you and I have both discussed, like, well, if you don't know my faith system, it might maybe be insulting or harmful. But if you do know the person well enough, you know Christianity is their hold on hope. By all means, that those words could be really helpful. And it is in that dark chasm of grief that a person is faced with it's not even two decisions. It's going to happen on its own. Whether you lean deeper into, I don't want to say like religion in a political sense, but you're leaning into just something to hold on to. Any ounce of light in that darkness, any ounce of hope you can find in the worst time of your life, or someone who's in that dark chasm and that light feels fabricated or not real. Like, it's not going to help you get out of that place. And you can't, that's not something people choose. It happens on its own. I think that's why Lewis, who is such a great example, still a Christian, still an advocate for Christianity, and yet he says the line in chapter 2, which I will just quote directly as well because I couldn't have said it better myself. Talk to me about the truth of religion and I'll listen gladly. Talk to me about the duty of religion and I'll listen submissively. But don't come talking to me about the consolations of religion, or I shall suspect that you don't understand. And that line really carries the weight of that. In those dark moments of time, people are questioning every part of their own life. Everything they thought they knew about their life is now flipped up on its head. It's like, it's why we're not the same people we are prior to loss. We are different people now because of loss. And you can still be, like Lewis, a Christian, and yet not find that faith and religion was helpful in those really deep parts of grief. It might be in other levels as you grow into that grief later on, because it doesn't happen immediately. Immediate loss, like, it is such a scary place to be. And sometimes your hold on hope isn't what you thought it was going to be.
It was interesting to read all of his thoughts where he mentioned religion, but for those people that whether you're religious or not, like, it's not a preachy way
Yeah.
that he talks about it. It doesn't make you feel like you need to go either which way. He's just kind of grappling with his own feelings of
Mhm.
faith and
Almost
being
like the
somewhat,
meaning of life as well.
yeah, because someone that is like so strongly in his faith but having doubts. And I think that is the more human piece of it. It's like you can have the strongest faith in the world, but when something like this happens that feels inexplainable, that feels like just unjustified and shouldn't happen, it does make you question even your strongest of faith, because it's a feeling that, like, why does this happen? Like, who decides this? Like, how is that fair to me? And it really can make you just, yeah, like you said, question your whole life, question everything. But it was interesting to like for him to admit how much it questioned his own faith when you know that he's a really strong believer.
Yeah, and within the point you made, I believe a lot of people think that when using the argument of like, why would God allow so much suffering? And I think like the common example is like the Holocaust. Like that was such a devastating time for so many people, like literally killed people, ruined lives. Like we're a different world because that happened. And yet Lewis is bringing it down to an individual sense, trying to justify to the people around him that this is just me dealing with my one loss of my wife, and I'm still feeling these really uncomfortable feelings and uncertainty about the faith that I believe in and where she might be right now, and kind of questioning, like, is she with God? And if she is with God, he quotes, I think, like, I don't remember where he says it, but like, I think in chapter 1, where he says, like, God is now incomprehensible to me. Whereas I think before he thought he understood the unknown workings of of God, and now he's like, I actually realize I don't understand much about Christianity or the workings of religion of any faith system at all. He's like, I now realize like this is so much bigger and mystical than I thought prior to losing her.
Yeah, it's way bigger. It just like makes you, yeah. I mean, I don't really know how to explain the feeling that losing someone the way it feels
Mhm.
and just that emptiness that you feel. That, yeah, and it makes you question like afterlife. Where do people really go? Are we going to be
Yeah.
reunited? Like some religions believe in reincarnation. Like there's just so many things that you question and hope. And where maybe it's like, if this religion believes in reincarnation, is that something that could happen to me, even if that's not your faith? You know, like it makes you question and wonder, hoping kind of for like the best end result after something really hard happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point, as Lewis is talking about his personal grief on an individual sense, he's also analyzing his community around him and his support system. And I'm glad he brings that up because this is a very realistic situation many grievers face, is people feeling sorry and pathetic for you. Almost like in the introduction, his own son saying that he was embarrassed by his dad purely because he was just expressing the sadness he felt for his wife slash his son's mom. And he says the bereaved are isolated almost like lepers. Did you feel that way? Because I certainly felt that way at times. Like I was like on my own little world, on my own little planet, because no one really wanted to touch that grief I was feeling.
Definitely felt it, and I don't know if some of it was my own. I think part of it was my own doing.
Sure.
I didn't like the feeling of feeling like if people looked at me, they just saw the sadness and like the pain and all of that. I didn't want that pity. You know, I didn't want to be known as the girl that lost everybody. And it's like I lost like my dad and then my sister, then my mom. I felt like that was just my whole existence.
Yeah.
Like it was just clouded by all this pain and the sadness and this loss. And I think part of it was my own doing, but part of it was also just feeling like it was such this big thing, especially because it was like 3 losses. I don't think people really knew how to touch it or bring it up, or how do you support somebody going through something so hard when I didn't know what to do with it either, and
Right.
wasn't sure. Like now, it's fine to bring up, but back then, like I don't even know. Like some people say they want you to bring it up, but like at the time when I wasn't really addressing the feelings myself, like would I want you to bring it up? Like I don't know. You know, I was having a hard time with it, so I definitely feel like it was a little bit of both, where I felt it, but I also didn't want to. I didn't want to feel it. You know,
Mhm.
I didn't want to feel that way or feel like that was what was happening. Yes.
Which the isolation part and kind of like looking at your support system in your community leans into Lewis analyzing when he goes out in public and sees families and couples, and the thought comes up, which I have this thought naturally, which I think is kind of fucked up, but that one day you're going to lose these people. Like you look at a happy family, and as someone who's lost their dad, I look at them and be like, one day they're going to lose their dad, and they're going to have a ride of their life. Like, it's gonna be so heartbreaking. He calls it like it's a secret. Like it's like this secret that they don't know yet, and it's almost like you don't want them to know, but it's like you are now seeing this whole another world of tragedy and grief and pain that they don't know yet.
I think for me, I lean towards more having that like jealous feeling of like you're still a complete family, you're still a complete this or that. I
Yeah.
almost see other people experiencing loss the same way that I did before. And that I thought, yes, that happens, but it won't happen to me, and it definitely won't happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And that was really how I thought of loss of like I nothing like that is gonna happen to me. Like my life is pretty good, pretty chill, like it's not gonna be my story. I'm not gonna be someone that deals with that. And that's how I still see other people. Like I don't see that I'm just like, oh, you're happy and you're complete and I wish that I still had that. That thought doesn't cross my mind of like, oh, you're gonna experience this. Really, it's really more just like that jealousy. And then, yeah, I still, for me, for whatever reason, I think of it the same way that just it's not going to happen to them anytime soon. But you just really don't know when
Yeah.
anything's going to happen. But I feel like I'm more at peace thinking like it's not going to happen anytime soon to anyone that I care about.
Like, I feel that perspective as well. And then it like hits me randomly. I think prior to losing somebody so close to me, when I heard about car crashes or people dying, they're like NPCs, like they weren't real people to me. And I don't have any relationship to them. But when I saw like, oh, a car accident on the highway and people died, I'm like, happens all the time. And now I think it's why I cry like all the time in like books and movies. Because every time like a death is brought up, I'm like, that was somebody's parent, that's somebody's child, like that's somebody's spouse, like that's somebody's
Yeah.
best friend. All of a sudden it like there's so much context to strangers I've never met. But I'll like look at the news and I'm like, oh my God, like someone is having the worst day of their like somebody's going through what I have already experienced. And it's like, I wish I could take that away for them because I hate that people experience pain at all. Yet it's going to be one of the most universal things every human experiences.
I think once you experience grief, you see it for as big and as complex as it is than just another incident on the news. Like,
Yeah.
I think what's the sad thing is people are getting desensitized with death and craziness and all these different things because the news cycle is so much more in your face now. You
Yeah.
can't really hide from it. It's way more 24/7. You're hearing about every single thing that happens in every single state in every single country, which didn't used to happen, right? You were mostly focused on the things happening in your city, your area. You weren't as focused on every little thing happening across the world. But what happens is like when you've experienced loss, you see it as like this way bigger thing than what it truly is that like it's not just someone loses their life, it's someone might lose their partner, they might be a father, they might be a mother, they have a parents, they how's it going to affect, maybe they have a business, maybe they have this, maybe they have that. You see all the pieces and all the ways that one person passing away is affecting all these different people, all these different timelines, all these different things. It's like how they say like one decision changes your life timeline.
Yeah.
It's really that, but it's like one person passing away is then ricocheting to changing all these different timelines for all these different people.
Mhm.
And you see that because you've experienced that and you're not desensitized from it because you know how it feels, which is also why I limit myself from taking on so much of the outside world's pain, which
Yeah.
I feel like now everyone's like, you need to care about every single thing. You need to speak about every single thing. You need to do this and that. And I'm like, no, you don't, because everyone's mental health is trash
Yeah.
because they're thinking that they need to do every single thing. You cannot be taking on everyone's pain in every city, every state, every country around the world. There's something happening bad right now in a billion places right now. But you cannot take that on. You shouldn't take that on. It's not good for you. I have lost both my parents, my sister. I can't take on that much more pain. Me dealing with that pain is already a lot. And maybe you don't get that. Maybe you haven't experienced that. You're like, oh, you're being selfish. So what? I am being selfish. What, like, if you think that's selfish, that's fine. But losing that amount of people is very painful. It's extremely painful. It is the worst thing in the world. So like if I know that for me to live a good life means that I can't take on the billions of things that's happening everywhere all the time, and doesn't mean I don't care about anything, but if I have to control what I bring into my life, then I'm going to do that because it is my life and I need to create my peace. Because all the people that are screaming random shit at you that they don't know you, all stuff, they're not going to create peace for you. They're creating chaos. They have their own agenda. So it's like I need to focus on what brings me peace, and I need to put power and whatever in what I can, but I need to care about my own life and my future and how to keep myself together. So I think that's the same way when you look at other people. It's like people don't have that compassion anymore.
Yeah.
To just like see someone and how much just it's not just a death. And it's never just a death to somebody that experiences it up close. It is so much more.
I had a very similar like experience in that prior to my dad passing, I was someone very involved in the news and tried to be like super well informed and know when everything was like breaking news. And then the pain that I was just absorbing caretaking for my dad, and then eventually like his loss, my mental health plummeted. And it kind of came to like a place where I was like, sadly, and I think this happens for a lot of grievers in this like kind of like suicidal adjacent place where you're like, what is the point of all this anymore? Especially for grievers after you lose somebody so close and you're in this like tragic, dark place. And then you see other tragic, dark things in the world. You're like, what's the point? What's the point of all this? And like, it has taken me 5 years now that I can create more good in the world when I removed those like negative influences that made me more sad and made me more depressed. And when I was able to like cut that out and like look at the good things happening in the world, I became a happier person and I was creating more good out into the world as well. It's like almost like positivity was begetting positivity.
Yeah, because you have to control it, because what sensationalized, what sells is the negative things. It's the news cycles with all those things. That's is just going to keep bombarding you. Not that there's not good in the world, but the good isn't marketed or as like sellable as the bad. So if you don't put yourself in these good spaces, if you're not doing good, if you're not being active about it, you're just going to be overrun by all the different negative things. And you have to control that. You have to protect yourself because no one else is. It's everywhere. You can't hide from it. You know, news is everywhere. It's really hard. I mean, you wake up on January 1st, there's so much horrible news happening across the country. And even more, there's just breaking news across all these different things. It's crazy. And I had to kind of just stop trying to find out a lot of information and like maybe sit down and take it in one day. It's like you don't want to be not informed at all, but it's so much news and so much like breaking news that it's like not good for yourself. And that's why also I stopped listening to true crime. Like I used to listen to true crime all the time. And I realized like, I don't think that's putting me in a good headspace to be listening to this. And most of the time you kind of have it on in the background, but it is still what's infusing your brain. What's staying with you is all these really dark stories. And I no longer listen to true crime. Like sometimes I'll listen to like some ghost stories or stuff or something like that, which I think is different. I avoid like the true crime like podcast now because it's too much. I don't want to surround my brain in that kind of mind space.
Yeah. To like lean into the positive and negative effects of grief, that Lewis ends chapter 1 with a line, "Her absence is in the sky and it spreads over everything." And so I want to ask you, like, do you see your losses and everything, or do you like see them, like their light or their energy in everything around you?
I think, I mean, I feel like most connected to them. One, in nature, I feel like being in a body of water, especially like in the ocean or a lake or something. And it could be also because of my Pisces, I don't know. But it just makes, I feel like there's just like some natural healing properties of just like being in nature, being in water, where I feel like most connected to their spirits. But I also think when I am in my most center of like being positive, doing good things for myself, I think that is when I also see them the most, or see signs of them in the most. Like I've said, like doing this podcast and stuff, like I see so many signs from them as like encouragement and whatever, whether it's like different number signs or whatever, that they're there and around me. And I think I don't say it's like the people say like going in your power, or like, I don't know the exact phrase, but it's like when you're going into that area of just finding your purpose and doing good things and just like being positive and trying to be a positive force in the world. I feel like that's where I feel them the most around me. And I feel like I feel their presence. And they were definitely my biggest cheerleaders in life. They always wanted good things for me. They believed in me. So I feel like whenever I'm focused on that and in that cycle, that I feel them the most surrounded me. But what about you?
Yeah, I have felt, I think, both these things. And in time spans that right after losing my dad, it was like almost like I visibly saw his absence, and like a reoccurring thought, because I didn't remember this until reading this book and it brought this up. But I remember like taking walks because it was 2020. And so I would take like midday walks around my apartment complex. And I would have this like reoccurring thought, like, how can this world keep going without him here? He was the best person I knew, and this kindness and this joy and generosity, this person is now gone. How can we keep on going? And it was like I would look around and be like, we're now so at a disadvantage because someone like him isn't here anymore. But slowly over time, and I will say the same thing, it's like always in nature where I have these, it is always like a very specific thing. It's like either I hear like birds twittering, and then I'm like, oh, I wonder, that's like so bright and happy. That reminds me of my dad. Or like I'll look through like the leaves of the tree and look up at the sun and kind of like how the light fractures. I was like, oh, that's the feeling I would have around my dad, just like that warm, glowy light. And it became that like when I am out in nature, it's when I see him the most as well. I don't know, like that's where I can go to connect with him, because it's not that I think like his ghost is trapped in a forest type of thing. It's not like that. It's just I think he was also just a very naturey person, and there is something so cosmically beautiful about life and death and nature responding to that.
Yeah, I definitely think nature is, so, for whatever reason, the most interconnected
Yeah.
thing with being close to them.
Yeah. So chapter 2 was much shorter, but there are some points that I just thought were really beautiful, like some lines that he said that I thought were just very stunning visually. As this is a little bit, chapter 1 is like right after her passing, and obviously it's very rambling all over the place and very dark. And then you could tell chapter 2 is a little bit time has passed. He still has like that profound grief over him, and he's still not in this like lit, like happy light place. He's still in this darkness. He's now talking about like the fear he had of losing memories about her. And you and I have talked about this a lot on the Two Girls with Grief podcast, about one of the things that we fear is losing the memories of them. And yet our brains are like porous or like a strainer. It's like you can't catch all the memories
Yeah.
or the little things that you remember about them. And he calls it like our memories of them are like snowflakes, like they're beautiful and they're unique. And then they're eventually going to land and melt away. And like, how do you feel about that with your memories of, your family, and then being that time and a couple years have passed in reflection? Like, does that change for you?
I think that's probably one of the hardest parts, is that memories do start to fade, the sound of their voice, the just different memories. I think that is probably one of the most heartbreaking pieces of losing somebody, is that you start forgetting
Yeah.
things and you try to remember stuff. You try to think of things, or sometimes something will trigger a memory that you're like, oh yeah, that used to happen, or that used to be the case. And it almost is like a bittersweet recollection that happened, because it's like, I haven't thought about that in years, or like, I haven't thought about that memory, or that they used to do this, or that's something we used to love to do together. And it's like very bittersweet, because you're like, that used to be so important to me. My life used to evolve around that thing or that whatever. And I hadn't thought about it in a couple of years or something. And I think that is like the most heartbreaking feeling of grief, is just that like things that were so important to you can just like, your mind can only hold so much.
Yeah.
and things will start to fade or just like completely be out of your brain in a sense. And I think that is probably the hardest part, is like you want to remember them, you want to keep them so close, but there's only so many things you can hold on to. And if you only hold on to the memories, you're not focusing on your future. And it's a really hard thing to balance, because it's like you never want to lose them. You never want to feel like they aren't actively in your life in some way, shape, or form. But it's really hard to not also get stuck in the past and not want to move forward. So it's just like a really hard thing. But I definitely think that is probably the most heartbreaking thing, is just forgetting things and just forgetting the little moments and the laughter and just the joy, and like forgetting things like that. I think that is probably the hardest.
Yeah, I struggle with that as well. And also him watching his wife die of cancer. I think of when my dad, I try not to think of my dad when he was at his
Yeah.
sickest prior, like right before he passed, because those images were the scariest and the most unlike him. And I try to think of him like when I was younger, like 10 or 12 or in my teenage years when he was at his happiest and his healthiest and he was super involved. And that's like the image I try to keep of him, and not like the caretaking part or the decline part, because those it evokes so much pain in my heart to think of him in those stages. And I almost like want to be like, he doesn't, almost in my own memories, he doesn't have to live through that again. He can live in the happiest parts of his life with us as a family, like the softball games and doing camping and stuff. And try not to think of I try not to force those bad thoughts upon myself,
Yeah.
which I think is hard when you're immediately in grief and you lost somebody, is because you're thinking of like those last memories you had with them. And if they're in the hospital and they're super sick, those are really tough, hard memories to absorb. And you and I have talked about like those images that you don't want to have in your mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's the worst images to have when you see your favorite person's body betraying them and no longer working for them. And that's, yeah, it just see them like that. It's just a really huge pain in itself.
So like, I like that you brought up favorite person, because he says a line, and I have thought about this all the time, of one of the things grievers change is like what they want out of life. And if you were to give me one wish to do anything, it'd be like, if I could just even have 5 minutes with my dad, that's all I would want. And Lewis says it in the book. I know the one thing I want is the thing I will never get. And I think every griever who's experienced profound loss, now they have the thing, they actively know that one thing they want more than anything. And it's the one thing they will never get back again. Like, do you feel similar to that?
Yeah, I think it's hard to hold on to that thought and to that feeling, because if it's like the only thing that you want, the one thing that you want, you're not wanting things for yourself and your future. And I think that's where the balance is. Like, obviously, of course, that's still like, I would do anything to have them again in my life. But the hard part is when people pass away, you can get caught in that. It's just the breakdown of that and just how hard it is for them not to be in your life anymore. But if the only thing that you're focusing on is like, I wish that I could just get 5 more minutes with them, that emotion alone and that focus takes you away from being like, well, what do I want my future to look like now? What
Yeah.
brings me hope now? What can make my life worthwhile now? And I think that's the hard part, is like, of course, that is always going to be a thing if I wish that. But I think having lost so many people and you can just get so stuck just in the thought of like, I just wish they were here. I wish this was this. For everything, you wish they were here. And everything is different. Like we talked about weddings, kids, like everything is different when you lose people that would be directly involved in that process. So it's so hard to not just get stuck in like the what ifs and if only they were here. So I think I've definitely been stuck in that process. But I think in order to make moves for your future and for yourself, you have to make that not the main thing that you want in life. It can't be your driving like North Star for your life. It can be you're doing something like with purpose that like honors them and honors them in your life. But I think if that's like the main thing, then you get stuck in that you're not moving forward. And I think that's the hard part, because you don't want to move on from them, but you have to move on from a certain part of that grief that keeps you stuck. And it's hard to find that balance that feels okay. And
Yeah.
that feels like you're doing a justice for them, but also for yourself. It's a really hard thing.
Yeah. There's like this concept that occurs when you're in that immediate loss where you're so retrospective, and it's almost as if you're just trying to live in the past, and it's a betrayal when you look around and see life continuing to move forward. And you're like, well, how can I go back to like when things were good and everyone was happy and everybody was alive? And that can't ever come back again. It's like, of course, we all wish that was a reality, but as far as I know, nobody's coming back as zombies anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of set. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel like there's this period where grievers exist in where you're stuck. It's like you're moving forward and yet your mind is trying to like go back in the past and relive and try to remember as much as you can with all the memories. And then like it's such a hard concept to rationalize even within yourself as you're reckoning with your grief, that you can still remember these things while looking forward and being like proactive or progressively trying to work on things in your life, and know that those can still exist at the same time in tandem. And most more than likely, like, I mean, we started a podcast about grief. It is a lot of looking forward and wanting to help others because of our own past and our own experiences. But like, we wouldn't be starting a grief podcast if we didn't lose people, you know, like,
Yeah.
we know what to talk about if we did.
Yeah. We
Should we
shouldn't
talk-
be talking about
Right.
it.
We shouldn't be talking about it if we didn't know what grief felt like or
Yeah.
what grief has been through. And yeah, I think at least I do hope for listeners, like when you're in that, if you're in this like dark chasm of grief with C.S. Lewis, there will be a time where you can like find the light again. There will be a time you can look forward again. If you need to stay in this period as a part of your grief journey, and like you and I have always talked about, like grief journey is different for everybody, but even he gets to a point where to honor her the best way to live, and even she says from her deathbed, like still go live a life, still go live a full, beautiful life, because now she knows what it's like to face death. And even then she was like, I wasn't scared. I was alone, but everyone will die alone. And that's like the sad reality of being a human.
I think when you touch death so closely, it also makes you think like, what are the moments that are worth it? And
Yeah.
being more open to people. And honestly, it took me a long time to get to another side where anything was positive. And I would say like it wasn't that I wasn't still doing good things for myself. I was still living, but also a lot of it, I feel like I was in autopilot, just trying to survive and trying to just get through. And I honestly don't think I could have done it any other way, because the loss was so much. The trauma was so much that like I don't think I could have handled it any other way. And like looking back, you're like, oh, what if? But it's like, no, it still impacts me today. But it took me so long to then get to the other side and be like, well, I want to be a good person, and I want to be doing something positive in this earth, and I want to create something good after something so hard to go through, and feeling so many emotions with the loss, and I still feel them, but to feel like now I'm on the other side where like I'm looking for good and I'm looking for the future, where I wasn't thinking that for so long.
Yeah.
It's like I want something good to come out of it, and I want to be able to help other people get through their grief by sharing the highs and the lows of grief, and just trying to help make it more of a common conversation, so that maybe if you never felt comfortable bringing up grief to a friend that experienced it, you'll feel comfortable because you feel like you at least been in a space to hear about it, to talk about it, and create that kind of openness with grief. And if you're a griever, then maybe you might feel more comfortable to bring it up to friends and just put it out there and share what you're going through. Because you can make yourself feel very lonely with your own grief, even if it's not like your friends just might not know what to do. And if you don't bring it up, they might think like, well, maybe we shouldn't bring it up, because if they don't, it's a hard thing. It's not so black and white. It's a very gray area with how to deal with it. But getting to that place took me a long time. Thinking about things differently took me a long time. to do that, but now I do. Now I'm like, oh, I want to spend my time with good people. I want to, like with the podcast, like we want to do good with this. We want to help people through their grief in whatever way we can. But I didn't think that before. I was just like trying to just get by and trying to get through it. So it could take a lot of time, and that time could vary.
Yeah.
You know, one of my friends that I've made through like the grief podcast, that's like they went to like therapy right away, went to all this stuff, started talking about it right away. I was not that person. You weren't that person that like talked about it right away. It's very different for other people. You know, some people can face it head on and just go for it, and other times it's like it's too overpowering that you can't. And not that you don't deal with it in certain ways, but it's like it's hard to dissect every piece of it. And I feel like we're just even dissecting it in real time in so many ways, into the degree of it. So it's a weird thing.
Yeah. Well, that was a heavy bulk of the book, A Grief Observed. So we covered the introduction and the foreword as well as chapter 1 and 2. But we covered a lot in just 2 chapters.
I don't think you'd expect it to be that much from like 30 pages.
Right. It really is like putting it all in. So that is it for part 1 of our podcast episodes covering C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed. And we hope that you join us for part 2, where we cover chapters 3 and 4. And without a doubt, just as much as grief content we'll get through as well. So thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Griefy Girls Book Club. If you want to talk more about these books, you can join us on Fable. It's a book app where we have a book club. You can look for Griefy Girls Book Club on there, and where we're covering all the books as well. So we hope you join the conversation.
If you got this far in this episode, please rate, subscribe, share our podcast. It really helps us get the word out. And that way we continue to share more griefy books with you in the future.
We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.